Hello, my people. I'm here once again. So today in this video, I'm going to talk about the procedures in computing post-project values. What values am I talking about? Values of equity, debt, and company. So still under the topic, the theory of capital structure and financial leverage. This is a very wide topic, and it's very important in planning your finances, in structuring your finances for the company, because finance itself is the lifeline of the business. So we need to be very careful. We need to be astute. We need to do what? To know how to do what? How to structure this. In order to keep the companies growing. Okay, having said that, today I'm going to examine the procedures in computing post-project values. Either value of equity, value of debt, or value of the company itself in total. Value of the company as a whole. Having said that, the procedure in computing it will determine on whether the examiner is specific, or even within us, even outside the examination, you want to use this to do what? To solve problems in your own organization as well. You need to follow these steps. You tend to use this to know the post-project value of the company, or of the equity or debt, and as the case may be, post-project values, either of equity, debt, or the company as a whole. I will say that, so the procedure to adopt will be determined on the specificity of the examiner. That is, the procedure to follow in computing post-project value of the company will be based on what? Whether the examiner is specific. If you have been faced with examination question, and it is what a practical situation, the formula you're going to follow, procedure for you to follow, it will determine whether you are specific, that is, whether the examiner is specific or not. If the examiner will be specific, if the examiner told us where the source of finance is coming from, you want to finance a new project, definitely you need to know where the source of finance is coming from. So it will be termed as the examiner being specific if the examiner told you that the finance will come from so source. That is to say, the finance will come from equity, or the finance will come from debt. The examiner needs to tell you, or you to derive from the question given to you where the finance is coming from, either purely from equity or from debt. But in a situation whereby the finance is coming from both equity and debt, it means the examiner is not specific. It is specific where we are told that the finance is coming from either equity or from debt finance. So from there, we need to know the procedure to adopt. So therefore, where the examiner is specific, these are the rules, these are the procedures to do or to adopt, to follow. This is a procedure, this is a procedure to do or to follow if the examiner is specific. And let me explain once again that the examiner will be specific if the examiner told us specifically where the mode of finance is coming from. For example, it's going to tell us it's coming from equity or it's coming from what? From debt. That is where the examiner is specific. So in that situation, therefore, this is what you need to follow. The examiner is specific. You start your computation from this. Return from new project, you have it here. Less interest on new loan. Less interest on new loan, if any. That is to say, if you are financing this new project with debt, definitely you are going to have what? Interest on the debt. But if it's equity, you don't have. So interest on new loan, you have it. If you have it in the question, you remove it from the return from the new project, you have it. So you have this. So less tax, if any, if there's tax associated, you have to remove your tax. Okay, so it will be in the bracket as well. So we have less anyway, so it will still be in the bracket anyway. So if any, so what the answer is going to arrive at after you have removed your tax from what? From this answer you have here, we are going to have what? The additional dividend. After that, add existing dividend. So you bring in your existing dividend, you have it to eat. So what we have is what? Post-project dividend. You have it. This plus this you have for the post-project dividend. So post-project value of equity. When you say dividend, maybe you know you are making reference to what? The equity holders. So post-project value of equity will now be equals to what? Post-project dividend all over post-project KE. KE means what? Cost of equity. So this is the procedure to follow where the examiner is specific. This is the procedure to follow where the examiner is specific. So let's really look at the situation where the examiner is not specific. Where the examiner is not specific, how are we going to go about it? Where the examiner is not specific, let's see how we're going to go about it. So where the examiner is not specific, let's see how we're going to treat it. The first thing to do is what? A. Compute post let me bring it down here so that I'm able to see that is weight of debt multiplied by Okay, compute post-project value of the company. Post-project value, this has to come next. Post-project. Can we see that there? Let me check. You can see it correctly. Post-project value of the company. E. Okay. This is the procedures to follow when the examiner is not specific. This is the procedures to follow when the examiner is not specific. So I've said it before that the examiner is specific where the examiner specifically told us where the source of finance, told us the source of finance for the new project. He's going to specifically tell us whether the finance for the new project is purely from equity or from debt. But when there's a mixture of the two, of both equity and debt, is which the examiner is not specific, so now we have to follow these procedures. So the first one is what? Compute post-project cost of capital. Compute post-project cost of capital. So we are going to have the information that will enable us to do what? To compute this post-project cost of capital. So in my subsequent video, I'm going to, in one of my subsequent video, I'm going to practicalize how to do what, or how to apply these steps. I'm going to solve a question, and we are going to use all these steps to do what in arriving at the solution to that question. So we're going to practicalize. We're going to see how you are going to do what, put this into practice. Okay. I also said that the first one is what? Compute the post-project cost of capital. The next one is what? Compute post-project earnings. Compute post-project earnings. That is existing earnings plus return from new projects. Existing earnings plus return from new projects is our post-project earnings. C. Compute post-project value of company. C. Compute post-project value of the company. That is post-project earnings. The answer you got here, you have at here, all over post-project work. So this post-project work can also be what is the post-project work, cost of capital that we have here. So that is the post-project work. Cost of capital is also the work of the company. So we have said it before, if the company is only financed with equity, because of capital of that company will be what? It will be because of equity, which is the what? The work of the company. Okay, so the next is what? Compute post-project value of debt. Compute post-project value of debt, that is weight of debt multiplied by post-project value of the company. That is what? The post-project value of debt. E. Compute debt contribution for new projects. Compute debt contribution for new project, that is post-project value of debt of the venture minus, when I say debt, I mean the venture. Debt and what? And venture means the same thing. So that is weight of debt multiplied by post-project value of company. So weight of debt by multiplied by post-project value of company. The answer is right here. Okay? E. Compute debt contribution for new projects. Compute debt contribution for new projects. That is, post-project value of debt minus existing value of debt. F. Compute equity contribution for new projects. That is, finance required. Compute equity contribution for new project. That is, finance required minus debt contribution. We have already got the debt contribution here. So the total finance required for the project is what you have it. So minus what debt contribution we have. The balance is what's going to be for equity contribution. So G. Compute post-project value of equity. That is the weight of equity times post-project value of the company. So compute post-project value of equity, that is the weight of the equity times post-project value of the company. So H, compute gain to ordinary shareholders, that is post-project value of equity minus the existing value and amount contributed. So these are the steps to follow when we are solving question on when it involves question, solving question on that involve for you to know whether the company is going to do what, to make gain on such new project or not. So these are the solution steps for you to follow in order to determine that. So these are the solution steps for you to do what, to follow in order to determine all these I've talked about. So, as I've said before, I'm going to solve a question that is going to explain that we are going to follow all these steps I've listed in order for you to understand what I'm talking about. So, in order for us to understand what I'm talking about in these solution steps. So, at this point, I'm going to call it a class now. I'm very grateful for you to listen, for you listening to this, for you watching this video, and I'll be glad to see you subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed to the channel, give me a thumb up. Any contribution you need to do or to make, I'll be very glad. Just put them in the comment section and I'll be glad to do or to receive your comment. So for now, I'm just going to say thank you and stay blessed till we meet in the next video. Bye bye for now.